All right. Says we are streaming live on Facebook. Good morning.
Good morning, beautiful goddesses on this Monday. Good morning, good morning. I am checking to ensure we are live. Look at us.
I see us. I see us here.
Another beautiful, gorgeous Monday. It is absolutely gorgeous where I'm at in the Pacific Northwest. The sun is out. We finally have started summer. Now in the middle of July, summer has officially began.
It is really funny to me that that is like that it's beautiful outside because it has been so sweltering hot here in Colorado that if the clouds would just come over and like thunderstorms is what I would like. So
I would love some of that sweltering heat. You can just shove it over this way, just blow real hard. Put the sun, everything. Beautiful. Well, this beautiful Monday morning, you beautiful wild women, we are going to be talking about client contracts. Yes, because in case you haven't noticed, Lisa Fraley came and joined us earlier this month, and she just was in the Business Coven, and she's actually going to do even another Q&A session and training in the Business Coven later this month, so we get her 2 times. And so we've really been focusing. Oh, go ahead.
This is really quick. That second business training is or legal training is actually going to be all about setting up your business for like success, but getting yourself completely legally covered, which pass it back to you, is why we are focusing so much on legal this month and why we're going to talk about contracts today.
Yeah, because we went over trademarks and we went over some copyright stuff, and but we didn't have a chance because we had covered so much information to go over disclaimers and privacy policies and client contracts. And in case you're like, what is a client contract? Do I need one? I've never really thought of them before. Client contracts are really agreements, and they work in the energetic field, which Lisa talks about so much, in the energetic field and also in legal field. And they're also, which we're going to talk about more, help to establish boundaries, responsibilities, hours, refund policies, so many different things to really protect both you and the client. And it's really something that I've signed many of them before, working with my own coaches, working with graphic designers, web artists, so to speak. I've even signed one with Heather. Heather signed one with me, and and I've also signed them even working for other people when I was working as a retreat chef before too, and also as someone that was also doing guest speaking engagements as well. And they're a form of paperwork that I would suggest everybody in this group have. I know we have herbalists, I know we have naturopaths, I know we have coaches, and it's something that I would say is a must for everybody when they're starting to see one-on-one clients, or when you're doing a group program, or at least some sort of contract, even if you're working in a different sense of, if it's not exactly, even if it's an online group, it doesn't matter if they're in person or online, that they're so necessary. But before we get into why they're such a great thing to get set up in your business and a great thing to invest in your time and money and resources, is Heather's going to share a little bit about her experience with contracts.
I just wanted to be sure to present something that it's possible maybe coming up, because I know that it happened for me. And that is that when I very first started my business, the idea of a contract absolutely terrified me. I was in so much fear over contracts and wondering, was I doing it right? Was I actually getting myself legally covered? Were they going to even sign it? I had a lot of fear coming up for me around that. And the interesting thing is that my very first contract that I ended up finally putting into place for myself, because I had actually taken a few clients without having them sign contracts, and everything went smoothly and it was okay. However, my very first client that I set up a contract with, things went terrible. And we ended up having to null the contract and all of that. However, part of my paycheck and my money coming from them was protected because of that contract. And I was able to be paid. Whereas if we had not signed a contract, not only would I not have been paid, but I wonder if they would have asked for a refund
Yeah.
or like that money back. And so because that contract was signed, and again, it was like, I was so lucky that even though I was so afraid of having that contract out there and being legally covered, that it was just such a good thing that I had it in place. And it's so interesting to me that the thing that provides so much freedom in the sense that like you're able to take that like burden off your shoulders is something that I was so afraid of. So
Yeah.
if this is a fear that's coming up for you in any way, I just want you to know that you're not alone and that I myself have definitely been
Yeah.
there.
100%. And when I've totally done that. And I've even shrank away from sending out a client contract because I was scared they were not going to sign up for the program because it was legally like a legally
Legally
binding
binding.
agreement.
Mhm.
And though on the opposite end, when I've been a client, I have been more clear when I've received a contract because I know exactly what I'm getting myself into. Like I know the results that I want. I've been very clear I wanted to work with somebody, but I wanted to be clear in also my responsibilities and also their responsibilities and also their hours, the boundaries, the hours they worked, how to get a hold of them, everything else. And having signed it and saying, yes, like I am taking responsibility for my actions and really stepping in out of victimhood, for whatever I was going through and really taking responsibility as a client is a powerful thing. And so I'd say, just like, Heather said, that if you are kind of wondering or a little hesitant about sending out client contracts or establishing one, it is so helpful and it is so energetically like energizing. I would say it's energizing, it's invigorating, it's very grounding at the same time to be like,
Mhm.
yes, we have this established together. And the one reason that we're also talking about this before we go into marketing, because I know a lot of people in this group are really anxious to like, great, like where am I going to get clients and do all these things, is set these systems and processes up before you even get to marketing, because you have to know, like, I think one of the most important things that I've had people ask me, and I recently had my business coach ask me this too. If you had 1,000 people sign up, 5 people sign up, 10 people sign up right now, would you be able to handle them? If you do not have your contracts in place, if you do not have, disclaimers, if you do not have all of these things in place before you even get clients, then you are not ready to get them, And, um, you know, and that's, I think this is one of the biggest pieces, is getting these and like all lined up before you're even looking to go market and create this big plan, is
'Cause
like
then you
making sure
also
you
have
have
the,
your what?
sorry, I was gonna say, because then you also have that scramble, that
Yeah.
restful scramble to hurry up and get your contract in place and make sure that that you got everything completely finished
Yeah.
before the clients coming in. And then if you're so tied up with like this one client that you're trying to like get their contract in place, maybe other like abundance is trying to come in and you're like, I can't even deal with it because I'm trying so hard to like make sure that I'm legally covered with this client. So anyway, that scramble is
Don't do it.
avoiding.
Don't be in the avoidance of doing this. Be in the proactivity, because it'll make that ease, that abundance come through so much more gracefully. So
Yeah.
you're not struggling like, okay, I got a client. Okay, now what I do? Do this first. Money will come in, especially when you're structured in place. Everything flows so much more easily. So please do this. Um, and also, like, I would like to say too that the going back to like, it does give you peace of mind. Like, it'll give you peace of mind. It is because it also establishes those boundaries and responsibilities. So, like in a contract, and we're going to link to this after we're done with the call. Heather's going to link to a link by Lisa Fraley. She has contracts that you can purchase on her site, templates, and so all you have to do is fill it in with your information and any little changes about your refund policy or your hours, things like that. But one of the things that I really like about it is because it goes over your refund policies. It can go over your vacation times. It goes over those clear establishing of like, hey, like I generally work Monday through Thursday, Monday through Friday, or Tuesday through Saturday, whatever it is. and here's the hours to contact me. Outside of those hours, I'll get back to you within 48 hours. I'm not going to, I'll read those emails when I get back to my desk on Monday, yada, yada, yada. So you're also very clear. And so it really helps in miscommunication later on, because I think communication is such a key in any relationship. And so when you are clear and you have clear communication within that, there's no like little fuzzy or crunchy spaces. Like, let's say you're a graphic designer, right? And somebody's like, hey, you're doing my whole website, and you do their website, and it's like, how many revisions are you offering? Like how many what happens if somebody's like not happy with their work? Or you're an herbalist and you work with someone and they're like, hey, you gave me that thing and I got a rash, like, and now I'm pissed off about it, I want a refund. And it's like, you came into this having the responsibility, and it's also to get your butt legally covered, to make sure that you feel safe and secure for both you and the client. And
That's what I
so
wanted to say too, is that from the, like, just to reiterate from the client
yeah,
side of it, it feels so good to be able to look at your contract and know exactly what it is that you're getting, what to expect, what you're
yeah,
signing. And having those like clear boundaries up front isn't just good for the provider. It's so
yeah,
helpful for the client to be able to look right there and see, and then to also know what they are maybe even like legally like going to receive, that like if
yeah.
this contract does not go through, that they're not responsible for part of it, or whatever it is. So I think it just feels so good for everyone. I did want to say good morning to Nanya.
Morning,
Welcome. Good to
Nanya.
see you.
I see that we have a few more people also watching. I do not, does it pop up with their name? It's odd. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
Well, I see Jessica, and I see
Hello, Jessica.
Gary, and I see Amber. Uh,
Sherry, Amber, oh, beautiful. Okay, on mine it only said the 3 for some reason. Good morning, beautiful wild women. So yeah, I think, going back to that piece, is that it's really the peace of mind for both parties, and you do not want to scramble, because next month we are going to be talking about marketing. And before you go into marketing, make sure you have all these things in place, because you don't want to have to like scramble, like you said, to do it all at once. It's so important. And whether it's a client that comes in for one session or 6 months or whatever it is so important, especially if you're doing longer term programs. So important, because at some point in that relationship you're going to refer to that. I also, this is another little thing that I just started doing, which I have found helpful, is even after we filed the contract, most people never look at that again, but in case you need to reference that. But I've actually started doing a welcome packet for new clients. So after they sign the contract, I also send a welcome packet that reiterates a couple of those pieces, not necessarily the refund policy, but my hours.
yeah.
And like my hours, how to get a hold of me, and just what does that container look like as the client and coach relationship. And that way they always have that too. And I say, well, it's in your welcome packet, and also it's in your contract if you need to refer back to any questions that you have at any time. If not, get a hold of me. So then you also don't necessarily have a back and forth, which I think is really helpful. So
Yeah.
just kind of a little trick with that is having a welcome packet and the client contract. They both work in tandem. And I think there's a nice marriage between those as well.
I think that's actually a really great tip, because there's so much transparency there. I
Yeah.
think a lot of times people think of contracts as like fine print and something kind of scary. And if they didn't read it, then they're going to be in trouble. Because I have had to go back to contracts and point out to clients, this is actually what we agreed to. This is what's included. We did not agree that this would not be included. It will be at additional cost to you. And I think that for some people that has been jarring, because let's be honest, how often do we read the contracts, especially like very clearly all the way through? And so I really like that tip. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Something else that I wanted to say, that I'm glad Sherry brought this up. She says, I know that I appreciate knowing the boundaries up front. I'm glad you have brought this up. I need to make my own contract more clear. Because that was something else that I was going to say, is that yes, you need a contract, and also it's worth revisiting. it's worth revisiting. So if you do have a contract, I would encourage you to go back and look at it. Make sure that you do have everything set up and in place the way that you would like it to be. And again, if you would like to have a contract that is already like templated out, I will include a link to that, to Lisa Fraley's do-it-yourself templates, just in case that is something that you are curious about or want to invest in.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely take a look at your contracts, whether you have one or not.
Yeah, Lisa is amazing. Her templates are solid. She has like everything on her site.
Everything you could ever want in a contract or any kind of document.
Yeah, and she's like, and it feels good to invest also, right, back into a woman who is so just awesome. Like, I mean, of all the people I would want to like be like, take my money, like I'll get that template, take my money, would be Lisa. So she's so great at that. And yeah, those boundaries are so important. And that's one thing it's like really nice too, is like when you're clear, and I think this is also goes with confidence, right, too, which we could take a whole month to talk about confidence in that and sales skills is like, great. Yeah. Like, did you have a chance? I want to make sure that you read through the contract. Do you have any questions before we begin?
Yep.
And so that is also a great place, right? When you start with a client, is after they sign it, did you have any questions about that? There's also a welcome packet. I also like to refer to always on the first call with a client, like just a couple of the pieces that were in the contract, preferably just like the hours and how to get a hold of me and what the container of our relationship looks like. That's the word I was looking for earlier. Is you're really creating the container of the client, coach, herbalist, naturopath, whatever it is, container, so that you're like in this like space and it feels very woomy. So I really like that too. Oh, just feels so good. So get your contracts, go over them before next month for sure. If you need one or you're like, mine's just kind of pieced together, it's kind of all over the place, Lisa, we're going to drop it right after this call so you can check it out. And yeah, Lisa's amazing. And she's going to be with us if you want to answer more questions, get more questions answered, excuse me. She's going to be in the Business Coven again later this month. And so you can still join that. The Business Coven is open at any time. And if you have any questions about it, do let us know.
We're here.
Yeah. I think that's all for today that we have.
I think that's great. Yeah. So get your contract in place. Let us know if you have any questions and we'll see you soon.
Okay. Bye, Wild Women.